Hi guys, welcome back to the Solve the Overeating Puzzle podcast. For those who don't know me, I am Eugenia, the host and the founder of Unlox'U, the eating psychology clinic where we give you a mind plan instead of a diet plan. So you can be in control of your diet, food, nutrition, your body, and ultimately, actually, your life. I've struggled with binge eating, dieting, restricting, really extreme, I guess, like relationship with food for a very, very, very long time, for many, many, many years. And I would say now looking back, I have recovered from food controlling my life. And I know when you are in recovery or to looking for ways to heal your relationship with food, you want to hear stories. I wanted to hear stories. I wanted to hear personal stories, what other people did, how they did it, how they approached it. I wanted to have specific steps, but also I guess more trust and hope that it's possible. I actually just recently got asked a question. Is it true that you never recover? And do we just learn to manage our eating disorder? This was my answer. I can truly say that I fully recovered from binge eating. I haven't binged for many years now, and I don't have the need or the want or the trigger. I still love that type of food. I still enjoy that type of food, and I still really even get that type of food like cookies and chocolates and cakes, all the yumminess. I still buy it and enjoy it, and sometimes eat more what I think I should, but it's not a binge, it's not overeating. It's just really enjoying the food that I eat, and it's not two pieces of chocolate, right? It is more. It can be four or five or six, but it no longer feels like it's a problem because it doesn't happen often. It doesn't even happen regularly. It just happens sometimes. Or let's say recently we went to Amsterdam and we wanted to try all these yummy food there. And at times it was more than I would eat on a day to day, right? Well, actually, on a day to day, I don't even have that type of food. I don't have chocolates or cakes just because I don't feel like that is something that I want to be part of my day to day nutrition. But we went on a holiday and we wanted to experience the culture, the food, yeah, the yummy food that we don't usually know. And yes, I ate them more, but it's not a problem. I don't think about it or, worry about it afterwards. I ate and I moved on. And this is what I call recovery. So I do think it's possible. However, I also think if I compare it with someone who never struggled with food, I do believe that their relationship with food is probably different to someone like me who has struggled for many, many, many years with food. So while I don't have disordered eating behaviors or disordered eating thoughts or emotions, my relationship with food is different to someone who's never struggled, like, for example, my husband. I don't think about it, I don't worry about it, but it's just I'm aware of it. I'm aware of food in a different way. Not all the time, but sometimes. Sometimes I catch myself, I guess, like more conscious thinking, have I eaten enough? Do I need more? Did I eat too much? Have I been eating recently more than what I used to or I should be? So I sometimes don't trust myself. It doesn't last long. It can be even just I ate and think, or I get ready. Prepare food, I guess, ahead of time for the next day. And I need to prepare. I do prepare some food in my container so I can just eat it on the day. And I stand there and think, do I need more? Do I need less? Is it going to be enough? So there is more thinking ahead of time specifically. Or I sit at the table and I have eaten with my family and think I'm okay. Or I guess I consciously thought, well, this is enough food of what I'm seeing there, right? This is enough food. I don't really need more. And then I eat that and we get up and move on. And I think, you know what? No, that wasn't enough. And then I go and I eat more until I'm satisfied. So in that moment, I made the decision, I guess, based on what I think should be enough. But my body needs more. But again, I then go and do and eat more as much as I need to feel satisfied. And then I move on. So these are just some examples where sometimes I guess I make my decisions based on my head, what I think I should, or what I think is enough, or what I think is not enough. But the body, it takes for the body to catch up and then give the signal. But it's something that I can act on later on. And again, what I think is fully recovered, I also know that it's just different. And I don't see that as a problem. So maybe you can relate. Maybe for someone who is wondering, is it even possible to recover? In some ways, yes, but it might also be based on my personal decisions and my experience. It might just be different to someone who's never had that. Yeah. So I want to talk about how I recovered from food controlling my life. I want to tell you what I did specifically, what steps I took, and my experience in terms of what I think worked really well for me, and obviously hope that it will help you too, that you can take some examples and try it yourself as well. Or you might say, no, this is definitely not something that I resonate. And that's okay too, because we are all so different. We all have different needs. We all have different triggers, even. We all have, in a way, different lives as well. So when I was recovering, that was before I had a baby. Maybe that would be different now because my life with a child now is completely different. So I could do things differently as well. So take what you need, leave what doesn't resonate, and continue working on your recovery because it really is worth it. I promise it to you. So I'm going to start with binge eating because what happened is that like I said, I went on so many different diets for such a long time, like really since I was, let's say, 16, maybe 17, something like that, maybe even 15. And it was always quite sort of extreme, but not in a way that it it lasted long or that I I never hurt myself. Say it like that. Let's say like that. And then when I got, I guess, more and more interested in nutrition and went to the gym and I saw that you can hire a coach to work with someone to work on losing weight and building muscles, I thought that sounds really exciting. That's what I want to do. So that's what I did. I started working with a coach who put me on a plan, on a diet plan, and also gave me a plan to train. And I thought it was great. I loved it. I really enjoyed the process. But I also noticed very fast that I started waking up in the middle of the night and needed food. at times I couldn't even sleep through the night. I needed a few times to get up to have a banana or peanut butter. Well, actually, it was really peanut butter for me, but also often bananas because I wanted something sweet. And that's when I noticed that something is just different to what I used to experience. And I lost a lot of weight. I didn't have a lot of weight in the first place, right? But I did lose quite a bit of body fat because I could really see it. And I trained and it was all good. But when I stopped, or even before, I noticed that I would, I guess, like use those cheat days more like for a binge. And then when I started working with that coach, I started binge eating. I gained weight from binge eating, and then I subscribed or started working with another coach, hoping that she will help me. So we did that, and again, I lost a lot of weight, but I started binge eating even more. I was eating secretly. I would tell my boyfriend I needed to go somewhere quickly, but what I did is actually going to the supermarket, buying cakes or chocolates, and then on the way back, I ate all of that. So my relationship with food became very fast, very unhealthy, and that's how I got into binge eating. It got actually really bad that I couldn't stop. I gained a lot of weight. I gained more weight than I used to have ever in my life. Couldn't fit into any of my clothes. And even when I tried to stop, I couldn't. And that's when I realized I am really bad. I am in a bad place. When I traveled from my boyfriend back home, it was about 2 hours drive. I would put so much food in the car and just eat all the way home. And by the time I got home, I already felt like I could actually eat even more. So I got more from the petrol station. And I remember the worst is when I woke up one day and I had heart palpitation. And I said, this is bad. This is bad story. This is actually getting really dangerous. I really need to do something about it. So that was the first step, is understanding that I need help and that I can't do that on my own anymore. And that's when I called my boyfriend and told him that I needed help and I struggled with food. I told him really exactly what I was doing. And then he said, I actually know someone who could help you. And that was, I guess, like the second step with the first step as well. I knew I needed help from someone else. I can't get out of it by myself. So I started working with this absolutely beautiful, beautiful man. I think he was in his 70s back then. Bless his heart. I will be forever grateful for his help and support. And that's when we started working together. Then comes the third step, that he asked me what food I binge on or what food I love and buy and enjoy eating. And I said to him, bread. And he said, how about you buy a loaf of bread and take it home and really allow yourself to eat that bread every day, every day. First, I panicked, thought, God, I'm going to eat the whole loaf. But, I wanted help. I trusted him. So that's what I did. I went and bought bread. I came home, sliced it up, and took a few pieces out and thought I will put the rest in the freezer and take every day 2 slices to eat it with eggs and avocado. And so I ate 2 pieces immediately, enjoyed it, and thought, now I want more. And that's where I got really worried, like, oh God, here we go again. And I took the two more slices, ate those, and thought, I'm good. And you know, guys, what happened? I forgot about the rest. I forgot. I didn't think about it until one day, or I don't know, maybe a week later or two, I remembered, oh my God, I still have bread there. But I didn't even feel the need to eat that. So what we are learning here is, one is we need to acknowledge that we need help. And sometimes we just can't do that on our own. Sometimes we just need help from someone else. And I do believe that allowing myself to eat food that I really wanted in a controlled manner, I didn't buy a lot of it, right? I just bought some and said, and I kind of had mental portions in my mind and said, I'm going to eat the other ones every day. So that's what I do actually when I work with people. We have a plan how we integrate the food that they binge on a daily basis. Because what happens is that your brain then at some point catches up that I actually can do that. I'm allowed to eat that. So we don't no longer have this forbidden fruit effect, right? It's because it's that forbidden. I'm not allowed, but I really want that. Our brain wants what it can't have. So it starts really overthinking and it starts hoarding, and all it can focus is I just want that. I want what I can't have. So that's what we start doing with binge eating as well. That hoarding, that I want as much as I can, as long as I can, because tomorrow I'm not allowed to have that anymore, right? That's what we do when we go on a diet. On a Monday, I'm not gonna do that. That's the last time that I binge. That's the last time that I eat sugar. That's the last time that I eat carbs. So what happens is that our brain says, oh my God, I'm not allowed to have that anymore. I need to have as much of it as possible right this moment. And that's how we gorge and binge, and I call it hoarding, food hoarding. So allowing ourselves that food, and I see that it really works well with my clients as well. Obviously, that's not the only way. That's not the only step, but it's a small part. Recovering from food controlling our life or binge eating, we need to look at all the different puzzles. I really see it as a puzzle. That's why I solved the overeating puzzle, right? Because it's lots of different puzzles that we need to look at, and then we will bring them together. That's when it makes sense, and our brain says, I don't need to do that anymore. I'm good. Yeah. So allowing myself that food. And I not only did that obviously with bread, I did that with different type of food. Peanut butter was another kryptonite of mine. With peanut butter, I did it slightly differently because I asked myself, do I really need that food on a daily basis? That's something that I really feel like, you know what, I really want to have that on a daily basis. And my decision was no. And that's the same as, let's say, not having chocolates or cakes every day or cookies every day in the house. I don't feel the need to have that as my daily diet. And that's what I decided with peanut butter. It's not something that I really need. So I thought, for now, I'm just going to leave it for now. But it was different type of foods. It was pasta. It was, what else was there? It was lentils, all sorts of different foods. I tried to integrate that food, have a variety of food until my brain started feeling at ease with it. And then at some point, even with peanut butter, it was no longer a problem or a worry of mine to have that in the house. I didn't worry. I didn't think about it. It was just there. It wasn't for me. It was when my boyfriend and I at that time moved together. He wanted to have peanut butter, and I first obviously was worrying, thought, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. This peanut butter, but it wasn't actually a problem. I noticed that a few times I would like snack on it, just to take a spoon and snack on the peanut butter. But even that, with time, it went away. It wasn't even binge eating. It was just snacking when I saw it. I mean, I love peanut butter. It tastes great, or any nut butter for if you talk about it. I love that, but like I said, I don't feel like I need to have that every day. But I really love snacking on it at times. But I guess also was another sign of mine that I noticed I didn't feel the need to eat the whole jar of it. Then also during this work, I needed to learn my triggers. And obviously, one of the big triggers was going to the gym and going on a diet. Now, I don't think that we need to stop going to the gym. I really don't. But for me at that time, it felt like the right decision for me. I wanted to completely go away and leave that environment that reminded me of that time. So I stopped going to the gym at that time. I actually started then doing yoga and Bikram yoga and dancing. So I had other outlets of moving my body, but I didn't want to go to the gym anymore. And it it took a while. It took a while until I felt safe to do that. It was actually a few years until I thought I actually really would like to try it to see how I feel. And I remember I went to the gym and I told them that, I used to have a really troubled relationship with the gym. So if it's okay to have 1 week trial and see how I go. And they agreed. They said absolutely fine. So I did that, and after a week I thought, this feels great. I loved it. So that's how I signed up back after the gym. But it was really few years down the track. So gym was one of them. Dieting, calories counting, and trying to reduce food or certain type of foods was really, really big trigger for me. So I had to stop it. I really had to consciously try to eat, or even I had to really learn to to listen to my body, to know how much to eat and when to eat, and no longer listen to, I guess, other people's plans when they tell me when to eat or what to eat, but more so what I needed, right? And what my body needed. It took time. It really, really took time. I had to learn about my triggers, what triggered me. And dieting, food restriction was definitely one of those as well, restricting certain food groups because like you hear a lot about things like you shouldn't be eating fruit, too much bananas, and because they have too much sugar. I also learned of those messages as well, and I had to really relearn to listen and really trust my body as well. So gym was one of those, dieting, restricting foods, calories, food groups was another one that I had to stop. I also had to learn to understand my other triggers, like the fact that I felt lonely, or the fact that I was maybe bored and didn't have a life that felt fulfilled to me. So I had to go back to doing things that I enjoyed, because there was a time when I was worried that I gained so much weight that I didn't want anyone to see it. So I stopped dancing. I think I also stopped actually doing yoga, Bikram yoga, hot yoga, because that's where you wear just only really short shorts and a sports bra. I didn't want that either because I was very self-conscious about how I looked. So I had to go back to finding pleasure in life that was not food related. because food was that highlight, that something that I was looking forward to when I was alone. It was kind of like me time, alone time. So I had to honestly recreate a life that felt fulfilled. It took time. Trust me, it took time. And I'm not talking about a month, I'm not talking about 2 months. It went on for quite a while that I had to relearn. The binge eating, I would think it stopped within half a year of that first moment when I told my boyfriend at that time that I needed help. About half a year into my recovery journey, I stopped binge eating. But my relationship with food, that took a while, especially learning to trust myself, my hunger cues again, relearning what foods I liked, didn't like, wanted to eat, that my body liked. It took a while. It took a while. So, and like I said, then at some point, probably I'd say 4 or 5 years down the track, I actually did I went back to the gym. I checked it out and trialed. So I was always very cautious and very conscious and very careful because I knew what my triggers were. And as soon as I noticed that certain activity or environment or certain behaviors could potentially be a trigger or led me to those old ways of thinking, that's when I stopped. I stopped and I listened to that trigger. I listened to, I guess, my thoughts. And if I felt like I can't manage those thoughts or I can't guarantee that it won't lead to overthinking or binge eating, I stopped doing that. Sometimes I notice that, let's say, even though I might have certain thoughts or memories, quite often as well, and certain memories when I usually would binge in the past, um, but I knew that it's just thoughts and I don't have this strong urge to act on them. So I knew, you know what, this is just memories. These are just thoughts. I don't need to do anything about it. I'm safe. So for quite a few years, I was focusing on really staying safe and trying either avoiding those triggers if I could, or at least manage my thoughts and manage my behaviors as well. So safety, I guess, was one of those. One of It was my focus. Let's say it like that. Then, and we're talking now quite a few years, right? 2 years, maybe something like that. Then my boyfriend at that time and we broke up, and sometime later I met a new boyfriend who's now my husband, and we started doing something that I wasn't even aware of what we're doing in terms of how much it will help me with my relationship with food. So what were we doing? When we went on some form of trips, whether it was to another city or hiking, we took some chocolate with us or a biscuit, or when we went to, like, let's say in New Zealand, we went to Auckland, we would buy, like, we saw that a stand was making freshly baked cookies, so we bought one of those. Or we saw like a new chocolate coming out, so we bought this new type of chocolate, and we always ate it together. So we always shared it as well. And I noticed that at the beginning it was really odd because those foods were my naughty foods, right? It's the forbidden food. And I wasn't used to even um, eating it in front of other people. So it was kind of like that forbidden food you eat only secretly because you're going to be judged or someone will make a comment and you will feel guilty about eating that. And in that moment, we ate that, we enjoyed it, we shared it. It was an experience. And it was never too much, it was only a little bit. And it was all about just trying something new and enjoying that. And I noticed that with time, that sense of guilt disappeared. And instead of guilt, it replaced a sense of joy and experience, that shared experience. So it was now, it felt like, you know what, we are okay. I'm okay to eat that food. Nobody made a comment. Nobody said, do you think you really should do that? Or that's nothing naughty you're doing. It wasn't. It was completely okay. I felt okay. And because I felt like it's okay to eat that, I didn't feel the need to eat it secretly. And that's when the body, the brain, started, I guess, catching up on that. You know what? It's okay. It's just food. It's overrated. It's just food. You can have that. No problem. And I didn't feel the need because it was regular as well. And because it wasn't forbidden, and because I didn't feel guilty, I no longer had that need to eat a lot of it or more of it when I started, right? It's like that sense of once you start, you can't finish. I didn't have that because we bought this one thing and we ate it and it was all good, moved on and enjoyed the rest of our day. And we also had, that was really before we had our baby. So I'm telling you, it would be completely different these days. But back then we had the time, and every weekend we made something special. So that was like our special food. We would make our own pizza or bake cake, and I don't know, made food that just we needed that time. Or sometimes I would bake enchiladas, but I made my own mince. I made sometimes even my own pastry. You guys, it took time, right? Or even beans. So beans 2 days before, and we were going to stand in the water, and then we would cook them. It was a whole process. So it took about a while to cook that food. So that's why it was always something very special, not something that we would do during the week because we just don't have time for it. And then we again sat down together, enjoyed it. If it was summer, we sat out in our garden, ate it outside, maybe watched a movie. It was something special. I absolutely loved that time, and sometimes I would have a glass of wine or two and just absolutely enjoy that time. But again, it was the type of food that felt like it was naughty food. It felt like it's binge time, but it wasn't. It wasn't. We ate it almost every weekend was another special meal and special experience. So it became normal. If you have pizza like that, right, regularly, or cake, or enchiladas, or something else, it just became something we do, regular. It's just another day in paradise. And I noticed that that was the cherry on the cake, literally, the cherry on the cake that just sealed that relationship with food, that healthy, easy relationship with food. Because I had the pizza, I moved on. I had a cake, I moved on. It no longer bothered me. I no longer felt like I need to overeat or binge or feel guilty because we shared that experience together. Nobody made me feel guilty about it because there were no comments like, don't you think you've had enough? Those comments are really, really, really not helpful. So that was a really important part, that cherry on the cake for me, that sealed that healthy relationship with food. Yeah, that normalized it. And And I'm thinking that really, that was now quite a few years ago, guys. Um, and I would say then at some point I felt pregnant, and even during pregnancy, I enjoyed some of my cakes and enjoyed the food that I wanted to eat, because for a long time I also felt quite nauseous, right? Couldn't eat a lot of food. And then when I could, I enjoyed my cakes as well. Obviously gained some weight during pregnancy. And after the pregnancy, it took a while until I said, you know what, I am going to start losing weight now as well. And that's when I noticed that's when I could go into calorie deficit, because that was really the only way for me to lose weight. I started counting calories, weighing my food, and going to the gym. It wasn't immediately, so please don't jump on it. It was a year after uh, my baby was born, right? A year after, I also already stopped breastfeeding, and that's when I started focusing on calorie deficit, and that's where I realized again there was nothing. It felt very healthy, very much like, this is what I'm eating, this is how many calories I'm gonna eat. I know I don't use a scale. Maybe that's something actually I have added at the beginning. At the very, very beginning, when I started healing, or I went on this healing relation on my healing journey, I threw the scale away. I didn't weigh myself from the very, very beginning. So the same during pregnancy, the same after pregnancy. I never weighed myself. I don't really know. I have an idea. I recently weighed myself now, but before that, I wasn't, and I don't have a scale at home. So how do I know? I used a measuring tape to measure my progress. And again, I felt like that's for me, that's a better way, because the scale obviously can go up and down with hormones, with if you had a little bit of more carbs, and I don't want that. I don't want to feel like go crazy with that. I think these days I probably would be at, I don't think it would trigger me, but I do think it will make me think more about why did why is it more on the scale? Why is it not less? So I think it will probably um, lead to more thoughts, and also will lead to be more strict maybe with my food as well. And I don't want that. I measured my food, I weighed my food, I used measuring tape to see if I have progress, and that's it. And then with time, so it's now 1.5 years after I started this weight loss journey. It's been a very slow process as well. I was in a calorie deficit, then I stopped, then I went just into maintenance, then I went back to calorie deficit and counting calories, because I find it very, very hard. It's not something that I can do, and nobody should be doing for a long time. So I can do it a week or 2 or 3, and then I stop, and then I'll go back to maintenance. And that's how, yeah, I'm at a point where I think I'm okay. I go to the gym, I exercise. So my focus is really health and building muscles and staying strong. I'm 41. That means menopause is probably coming at some point soon as well. So what I need to do is really building muscles, getting enough protein, that hopefully menopause won't be too hard on my body. So that's my focus. That's what I did. And all I can say is it's really a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And my suggestion is to really take your time to go step by step. But I would always suggest to get someone's help, someone who knows what they're doing, so they can give a perspective from the outside, so they can give you suggestions, because sometimes we just don't see what other people can see. So I noticed that with my clients as well. They don't. Sometimes they say things like, "Oh, I never thought about that." You guys, I hope this been helpful for you. If it was, if you're on YouTube, give me a thumb up. If you're listening to this podcast, please subscribe to the channel wherever you are. Leave a 5-star review. You never know how it's gonna help. Share with other friends, share with those who might need it, because we never know who might need to hear this message today. Otherwise, I really would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for listening, for tuning in. If you're someone who keeps coming back, thank you for that as well. It really, really means a lot to me. So until next time, I wish you all the best, no matter where you are in the world. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful night. Talk soon again.